This is AgGrad Live.
We have all of the different segments within the cotton.
The show that explores what it's really like to work in the ag industry.
So making sure that we get policy and regulatory issues
straight from the people who live it every day. Another episode of AgGrad Live. I am very excited about this one, but before I get too far into it, I always forget to announce this because this ends up becoming not only a Facebook Live broadcast, but also a YouTube show and a podcast. So if you've missed the first 30 or whatever we've done of these, make sure you go subscribe to AgGrad on YouTube, and then also go to the podcast, subscribe, rate, and review, because we're trying to build that channel as well. So 3 different ways you can stay tuned to this show, AgGrad Live, which is live on Facebook, YouTube, of course, and the podcast as well. But back to our guest today. I'm very excited about it because I've known him for a long time. In fact, we were part of the same fraternity, Alpha Gamma Rho, Phi chapter at UC Davis. We are part of the same fraternity, I should say. And so I remember way back when we first met, and now he is a dairy scientist for Purina Mills, and I'm going to let him tell some more of his story because it's inspiring to me, and I know it's going to be inspiring to you as well. This is Gustavo Cruz. Gustavo, thank you for being on the show.
Hi team. Hi everyone. How's it going?
It is going great. Hey, no, I just remembered too. Didn't you had a podcast? You're from Brazil, and didn't you have a podcast before in Portuguese?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was one of the adventures that I had in my life for 2 and 3 years, with the purpose of connecting scientists with people that wanted to know more about science and do a similar job that what you're doing with your podcast, and trying to connect the agriculture with the urban people and bring the science. So we would interview scientists throughout the globe, all the type of research they were doing it. And but I have to say that the highlight of the podcast was when we interviewed about physics and Buddhism. And that was a very interesting conversation that we had.
So you're a man of many tastes and many talents. Take us back. Now, you grew up in Brazil, and one thing I find just remarkable about your story is that you are not from a kind of conventional agriculture background. So tell us, how did you first get interested in agriculture and food production in the first place?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I grew up in a small town in Brazil, and my family has nothing to do with agriculture. Both of my parents were teachers, and they, but a lot of and work out to help them out during the weekends or after school or something like this. And that's how I started to get my passion about animals in agriculture. The first one thing that happened that was very interesting is that, so my older school, and I remember him coming from school on the weekends and telling us what he was learning it. And I then realized that I liked animals more than I thought I would. But at the same time, I realized that I didn't want to become a vet. I liked what he was doing it, but I didn't like the clinic and all this that he was doing it. So he helped me. I don't even know if he knows this, but he helped me to make during lunch. I got home, was like, hey, I'm going to be an animal scientist. I'm going to apply for what you're talking about. I don't even know what that is. So I explained to them a little bit that I know. I was like, I have read about this. I have they like your body. I was like, not really. I like this nutrition part and genetics and environment. And they goes like, well, okay, good luck. So that's how I got into the animal science. So thank you for our friends to get me to learn about agriculture through their work.
Good deal. And I think your mic sometimes is getting caught behind your color of your shirt. So just make sure you hold it out occasionally. But so how did that lead then though to coming to the US, and when did you make that decision?
Yeah, okay, so let me see if I can fix the mic here. I'm gonna put it closer. So then I applied to 2, 3 universities in Brazil to go animal science. I ended up getting into one of them. And then as I went to sophomore year, I had a class in genetics. It was just generic, like just a general genetics class, and the professor was amazing, Miss Lydia. And I asked her for internship in her lab, and she goes like, "Yeah, sure, you can come here and help us out in whatever the other grad students were doing it." So I started my second year to do research in her lab, and I remember exactly what we were doing it. So we're looking to chromosomes of water buffaloes and making mozzarella cheese. That was the research. So I had to look into the microscope. I would take pictures, and I learned how to this old picture. I forgot what you call the rolls, and I had to learn how to take them out. I had to cut the chromosomes and do all this work. And for me, it was fascinating. So I'm very thankful to her for being an excellent in such an early age. And then I presented my first poster in a conference when I was in my second year. So that really motivated me into research. When I got into the third year in animal science, I had genetic improvements for livestock. And that class started to show me what you could do with gene editing and how it ties with genetic selection, meat quality, feed efficiency, milk production, all these different aspects. And that for me was mind-blowing. So then I asked the professor if I could do an internship with him. So he goes, yes, of course. So then I went to do the internship. And mind everyone that's listening here is that all these internships, I did not get paid. It was just say I wanted to learn. So I wanted to learn. That was, for me, that was a form of payment, learning, knowledge. So then I stayed with this professor for 1 year, and then I started to get scholarship. We were applying for different scholarship programs, and I started to get some financial aid from the state to support our research. So then I had this scholarship money, and you have to inform the listeners here that the public universities in Brazil are free, so we don't pay for it. Okay, so the only cost that I had as an undergraduate was to pay the rent in the fraternity. Okay, so I remember that while I was writing these reports for the scholarship, I had to read papers to write it and compare my results with the literature. And I remember very clearly that I could not read those papers. That was a huge struggle. We didn't have, in 2001, 2002, 2003, we didn't have this Google Translate that you copy and paste, and then it translates everything for you. I had to look at dictionaries. I had to search what it was and ask people about it. So for me, it was very frustrating that I couldn't do that. School or paying for the rent and then my other expenses. I have some money from the scholarship that I'm getting it. How about I save this money to go to the US so I can learn English? And he goes, sure, want to do that? I was like, yes. I was like, if you can still continue helping me with the cost of the university, I wanted to use my scholarship money to go to the US. And back then, the US to the Brazilian real was a good conversion ratio. So I could stay in the United States without any money for 6 months. That's how much I had. And my dad was like, oh, go ahead. If that's your dream, go for it. So then, okay. Can you still hear me well?
Oh, yes.
Yep. Better now?
Yep.
Yes? Okay, perfect. So then I was like, okay, now I need to find someone to accept me. And that was another journey. So what I did is that for all the pages that I was reading it, at the end of research papers, you have the reference, and that has the name of the authors. And the last one is the reference author. So those normally, they are the professors. So what I did is that I would look up a bunch of them, and actually be more precise, it was 100 of them. And I made an Excel file with the names of all these professors, and I found the emails. So then I asked a friend of mine to help me to write emails to all these professors and send an email to them asking for an internship opportunity. And clear in the email that I did not need a financial assistant, that I had enough money for 6 months, and I just need them to accept and actually pay for the visa. So that's what I need. I need a visa to come.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then I got responses from 4 professors.
How many did you send out initially?
100.
100, and you got 4 responses?
4 responses saying, yes, you can come here.
So you got 96 no's.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So that already helped me. Part of his life in Brazil. Professor at the time. So I was like, we can help him there a little bit. My major professor here knows him too. And the following month, this American professor was going to go to Brazil to give a talk in a conference. So I sent an email to him. I was like this, hey, hi, it's me, Gustavo. Then I sent in Portuguese. I know you're going to be at this conference. Time after your talk, I want to meet with you in person, discuss about this internship opportunity. So he goes like, yeah, sure. So then I went to this conference. Then I waited outside of the conference room for him to be done with his talk. And then as soon as he came out, I introduced myself and I talked to him. I discussed about some experience, whatever, just a personal connection. And he goes like, no, let's do it. I'm going to go back to US in the following week. I work on your paperwork, and I see you in January of 2005. This was 2004. Sorry. Yeah, so that's how I got into the US. And then, as I mentioned, I had money for 6 months. So I was going to go back to Brazil. And actually, I did have a job opportunity in Brazil. There was a feedyard that wanted me to hire as to be a manager. So things. Probably some of the listeners know who he is. He's at University of California, Davis. So then I got to Davis. Mm-hmm. January 6th of 2005. I got into Davis. And then should I continue? Should I stop? Sorry, I get sometimes very excited and I just keep.
No, you're fine.
I was living in a house with a family. So there was a young girl. She was, I think, 8 at the time, and the family, and the parents. And I was living at their house, and I was going to campus. And for those who knows Davis, there's a lot of biking around, right? Mm-hmm. So I used to live an hour away from the feedlot. That's where I was doing my hour to go, and I had to go feed animals twice a day. So then I had to bike 2 hours to go back and forth, or 4 hours back and forth. But that was a very good exercise. It was very good timing to think about things that we're doing. So I like it. But if you recall, my goal to come to US was to learn English.
Yeah.
And I was living with a family of Chilean. So they were speaking English, but sometimes they were speaking Spanish. And I did not want to learn Spanish. I wanted to learn English. So I was at the feedlot, and then there was one guy there named French, who you know. Yep. So Carl was working at the feedlot, and I spent hours at the feedlot. So Carl mentioned, I was like, Gustavo, do you want an experience? You're going to be an easier bike commute for you. You don't have to bike an hour. Now it's just 30 minutes. So it was like, yeah, I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. I was like, I think I'm gonna like it. So Carl mentioned to me there was gonna be just a lot of the guys involved in agriculture and all Americans. And I was like, you know what? This is gonna be perfect for me. I'm gonna be living with people on my age, they all speak English. I'm going to learn English very fast. And they're all involved in agriculture, which is my passion. I don't think I can go wrong with this. So then I moved. Yeah. So then I moved from the family that I was living with to the AGR fraternity. And that's actually, I tell people that's where I learned English. And I learned about the American culture was through a fraternity. So people are not sure about when I.
It's a good representation, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So from all that, then you're a PhD student. You're at Davis. It just blows my mind, though. Like you don't speak the language. You're riding a bike 4 hours a day just to do your job. Like what made you want to kind of stick with it? I mean, certainly most people at that point would say, like, what am I doing? What made you sort of want to stick with it?
No. My mind what I was doing it. I was so happy with what I was doing it. I was so sure that I was so happy. And I remember one day I had, I think, 102, 103 fever, and I had to bike. And that shivering, it was raining, I was miserable, and I went to do my work, and I was very happy. I was very sick, but I was very happy. That never crossed. I was so motivated to do what I had to do. That was just, for me, it was unbelievable, the experience that I was having it. So that gets me to the point, and you have to. So I was in 2005. I was 21. Mm-hmm. So I was 21. I was doing this internship program, and there's another big factor that helped me too. So and remember that I had to learn English. So another thing that I did is that through my bike rides, I used to listen to music, and I just listened to country. So
who'd you listen to?
For me, it was George Strait and Brooks and Dunn.
Okay.
That was it. And then I started to, and then they had like Big and Rich that came about. But yeah, but for me, it was a moment that I would not miss the opportunity to learn English. So I was listening to country all the time. So then I got to the fraternity, started living there. It was fantastic because that was the environment that I wanted to be. There was guys that I could talk with. I could learn English. I was close to campus, and it was fantastic. But then my timer was running down because then in July I had to move back to Brazil because I didn't have. But then one thing that happened is that when I was doing my work at the feedyard, I was an undergrad student. There was a PhD student. His name at Texas. He was doing his research with calves next to me. So we were both doing this work at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and we just had each other. We had the animals and each other to talk. So him and I got in a very good, relationship because we're going through similar challenges. In this friendship, and he was very encouraged to go to the fraternity, so he helped me in a lot of decisions. And one thing that happened is that the reason I mentioned this is because as I finished my project, my experiment, Mike was doing his, and he needed some help. And he knew how much work I was putting on it. He goes like, you know what? I need someone to help me. Mm-hmm. So he talked to his major professor, who is at the Peters. Some of your listeners probably know who he is too. He's a professor at University of California, Davis, more focused in dairy. Mm-hmm. And then they hire me. And that's where
But what about Gus? What about so you go through that program, you have those great experiences, but I still talk to a lot of hardworking people that have even advanced degrees, masters and PhDs, that find it difficult to get plugged into industry, to make the jump from academia to industry, which you did. It's one of the reasons AgGrad was created is because there is this awkward connection between graduates and people getting started in their careers. But I'm wondering for you, how were you able to land such a desirable job straight out of a PhD program, especially being someone who wasn't native to the U.S.? Well, I wanted to catch the rest of that story for sure, especially the stuff about kind of getting started in the industry from the PhD program. So we might have to just kind of try to cancel out this broadcast and bring it up in a new broadcast, either right now or at a future date. No, I still can't hear you yet, Gus. Sorry about that. Well, let me see if we can, we'll go offline here and see if we can get things figured out and come back. So thanks for all of you who've been tuning in, and hopefully we can get this figured out for you. Sorry about that. We got him switched over to his cell phone. So hopefully we've got the audio problems all worked out. Gus, we'll bring you back on.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I think you look better.
I do. Okay. It's the camera. There's less pixels in the camera. That's why.
Yeah, where my audio went out, we were talking about you making the transition from your PhD program to to private industry, because I talked to a lot of people who are having trouble making that transition. So I would love to hear kind of your thoughts on how you're able to do that.
Yeah. Okay. So there's all these questions that we all go through in academia of choosing different paths, right? Not just in academia, but outside academia. So for me, I was very curious. I was always curious about the industry. I stayed in academia for 11 years. And for me, it was like, I was starting to get a little bit too comfortable with academia, that I wanted to get a new challenge out. And I thought that the industry would be a good opportunity. So one thing that I cannot emphasize enough to the listeners here is that network is key. Okay, network is key. Remember this. You have to know people.
And so how do you do that though? Network seems like something you have, but it's hard to kind of put a finger on exactly how you get it.
This is how you get it. You get network first by not looking at your phone. You get network being aware of the environment that you are, the people that are around you. This is how you get network, and it's talking to people, be able to connect. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you're in a scientific conference. It doesn't matter if you are in the train station, if you are in a restaurant, if you're in an airport. You make network in every single place. And you have to be aware of the environment that you are. That's how you do network. Okay, if you are in your own little place, looking at your phone, doing whatever you want to do, you're missing opportunity. Every time, I guarantee you, there's someone passing by you that you're missing a connection there because you're just doing whatever you wanted to do.
And how did that work for you? How did that you leverage your network to get into the positions you're in?
Yeah. So the network, so mainly for on the more on the technical side, is that it was conference. Okay, so in the animal science, that there is science, we have a big, that's called the Joint Animal Science Meeting, JAM, that has the two societies there. That one, you go there, and I another thing that I cannot emphasize enough, and please don't take me in the wrong way here, but you don't make friends drinking milk. Okay, so you have to socialize with people. All right, so you have to go out. I'm not saying that it's not for you to get drunk. This is not what I mean. Is that you have to build a true connection. You have to go outside these meeting rooms. You have to go out for a dinner, for lunch, for breakfast, whatever it is. And okay, so for me, beer works very well to do network. Okay, so that a lot of the things that I got was because of going outside for having a beer. A lot of that's happened. I have met a lot of people this way, okay? And I have made very good friends that way too. So for me, that's what happened. So go to the conference, you watch all the presentations, and at the end of the day, you find someone for you to go have dinner or go have a drink. So this is how I got to the network, and then talking about your career, I was like, I have been doing this. I'm looking for a new challenge. I'm looking for whatever it is that you are looking for, and talk to a bunch of different people. Don't be shy about what's your aspiration.
Well, hold on. I want to back up here. Oh, it's still got my name up there. Let me take that off. Back up, because I think you glossed over the part that I think a lot of people struggle with is like the awkwardness of being at a conference and saying, "Hey, will you have dinner with me?" or "Will you go grab a drink?" Like, do you just go up to somebody you don't really know that well and ask, or how has that been for you?
So I do two ways. I have done randomly, but what I have done is like this. So we have to remember about, since I send the email as an undergrad, there's connections that I make that's on purpose. Maybe that person doesn't know, but I know. So what I do is like this, and especially today with the internet, is like this. If you're gonna go to the industry, it doesn't matter what you want to do. If you know someone is good and that person, you wanted to meet that person, you put the person's name on Google, look for images, and you know the face. And you go after them. So for me, there were people that I knew. I was like, you know what? If I go to the industry, there's some people that they need to know who I am. So I look them up and I memorize their face. Okay, I'm not a creep. I'm sorry, but I memorize their face. When I went to the conference, I would look for them. And try to do, I was like, and go after that person. I was like, hey, and I'll introduce myself. Hi, my name is Gustavo. I'm doing my PhD or my postdoc at the University of California. I wanted to talk to you about any potential opportunity in your company. Can we talk about this, or any interest, or any whatever it is? So I'll do those on purpose meetings. I do that. But
Did we freeze up here? Gus, I think
but you have to remember.
You froze up, but then you just came back. Oh, I think the hotspot is going out on us again here.
Tim?
Oh, there you are. Yep, I think your hotspot just kind of froze up on us again there.
All right, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. You were going strong. So,
what I was gonna. So I have but I was gonna say it's like this: for people that extrovert, it's an easy exercise.
Right. Yep.
For people that are introverts, I know that it demands extra energy. So for the introverts that are listening to us, what I would suggest is that if at the end of the conference you're tired and you need some time for yourself, go back to the hotel, take your time, build your energy back, but go after again to meet these people, or find some way for you to recharge your batteries before you expose yourself. Because I know so for me, I can be very tired. At the end of the day, when I go to some place else with more people, the more people for me, the better, the more energy I get. But for an introvert, the more people, the more that person is connecting it, the less energy. It's like draining the energy of the person. So be very cautious about this, but try to go out. Try to find a way for you to recharge your batteries if you're an introvert. So then you can go out again and do some networking. That will help.
And for you, how did that come full circle for you as far as getting a job?
So then for me it was, okay, so I met the people that I wanted to meet, introduce myself about the job. So then that people went back to their jobs and talked to their boss. I was like, there's a student here that he's going to graduate, and I think he's going to be a good fit for us. Let's have a conversation with him. And both of my jobs, that's how I got it. It was from networking. And you have to remember that not a lot of the companies, but there's some of the companies, they do not post jobs on outside. So they have these internal positions that you might looking for a certain person. And I'm going to tell you that companies are going to hold the position until they find the right candidate. And I have seen companies hiring people without a opening in the company because they wanted to hire the person.
Yep.
So
Yep.
just be aware of that.
Yeah, you never know when putting yourself out there is gonna pay off. Well, let's kind of wrap things up here. We have a lot more we could talk about, but I would just love to hear kind of like, as you have probably come across a lot of newer employees throughout your jobs that you've had. What's something that you notice other than this building the network piece, which I do think is really, really important? What else is something that you notice that you think they could really benefit from improving?
You have to be, you need to adapt. You need to adapt to changes.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have the characteristics because you're constantly adapting it. You need to be very, I think adaptability, it's a very key skill to have. You need to be able to adapt to the environment, especially nowadays, things are changing so fast that you need to keep adapting to different things, how you do things, keep challenging yourself. I think learning, you need to have motivation to learn. If you do not like to learn, you're going to be in trouble. You need to keep learning constantly. You need to learn. Like myself, I have a class tomorrow afternoon that I'm taking to learn a new skill set. I cannot just be doing everything that I was doing before. You need to keep pushing yourself as for you to grow. So learning new skills, learning a new concept, whatever it is, you need to do something. You need to keep adapting, learning new things. Those are very important. And you need to have motivation, be positive. Be positive. Oh my gosh, there's so many people that I talk, they're so negative. Be positive. People would rather work with someone that knows less about a subject but is positive than someone that knows too much but is negative all the time. So be positive. That's a very good characteristic to have, a very good skill for you to develop, to be positive about things. It's not to be unrealistic, it's just be positive, have a positive attitude. We're having problems. People in the dairy business now understand about the milk prices of the situation, but we have to somehow be positive about it, find good opportunities, not just let it drag you down. No one wants to go to a meeting with people just complain about things. Stop that. Be positive about everything that you're doing it, you know? There's always something good coming out, and that's an important skill to have. And you're gonna attract positive people if you're positive.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that 100%. And I believe that. And I've seen that where, somebody could be completely competent, but with the wrong attitude, it really can be damaging. It can be toxic even. Well, Gus, my dog's in the background here. Sorry about that, telling me that it's time for me to wrap things up. But if somebody wants to practice expanding their network with you, what's a good way they can follow up with you? Or is there a good way?
Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah. Just shoot me an email. I don't know if I say my email or my phone number or whatever it is. You guys
email would be great.
Yeah, so my email is gdcruz@landolakes.com. So G as in goose. I'm always bad at these things. D as in dog and CRUZ, my last name, at landolakes.com. Just shoot me an email. My phone number is 530-848-0500. If you wanted to call me, whatever, just I'm here. If I can help anyone, just let me know, please, and I'll love to help. So,
Gus, you're the best. I really, really appreciate this. Sorry about the technical problems, but glad we're able to get back on here and get more of your story. We'll have to have you back on here another time when I have this figured out to where there aren't any technical problems. But thank you again. Here, I'll sign off, but stay on. We can still chat here after we're off the live broadcast. Thank you for joining AgGrad Live. Visit aggrad.com, that's AGGRAD, to join the community, create your profile, and learn more about careers in the agriculture industry.